You should change for your partner. And that may be a controversial thing to say, but let's unpack that. Watch this first.
I hate to break it to you, but you're not perfect just the way you are. So let's talk about some ways that I had to change for my husband, because it is in fact okay to change for someone. Number one is I was not affectionate at all. I was not emotional. I didn't tell the man that I loved him. I didn't compliment him. I didn't show my affection in any way.
Let's unpack that for a second. Firstly, it's okay to change. It's okay to get better. And relationships bring out the best and quote unquote the worst of us. They bring out the parts of us that actually sometimes need to change. And if she wasn't affectionate, maybe in her life, she experienced intimacy being unsafe and dangerous. And her partner, if he lovingly, compassionately, kindly, gently invited her into deeper intimacy, deeper connection, deeper affection, not forced it, didn't project upon her, didn't blame and shame her for it, but invited her into, hey, I can be safe for you. I know that intimacy previously wasn't safe, but I can be safe for you. That is deeply healing for her. Her not being affectionate maybe was because she just wasn't accustomed to it. She didn't grow up with it, or because affection was dangerous. Affection came with conditions. That relationship dynamic gets to break that. Let's keep going.
My affection in any way, shape, or form, and it was taking a toll on him. Like, who wants a relationship where you don't have somebody who's affectionate and constantly uplifting you? Number two is my communication style. I grew up being very aggressive and very confrontational and not handling things in a very calm manner, and that's something that I had to work on.
I grew up in that same way. That doesn't work for my wife. And honestly, it doesn't work for me because that reactivity lives within me. That need to fight and be confrontational and be abrasive and reactive and win and be in control is an affliction of my own childhood trauma, of my own childhood circumstances where I was oppressed, where I was controlled myself. And it is a way for my nervous system to come back in the world and say, hey, I have control. I'm okay. That's really what's underneath that is what are my needs is I just want to feel okay. And I'm trying to feel okay by controlling others, by being bigger in my energy than others. That doesn't work. And so what I'm hearing this woman say is that doesn't work for my partner either. And maybe he's not accustomed to that. And that's intense for him. And he's asking, hey, can you communicate differently with me? When you have a need, can you say it from a more vulnerable place? But vulnerability, that can be very scary. And it's easier to be big and loud and aggressive and in control than be vulnerable and really ask for what we need. Because what if it gets rejected? What if it's a no? But we get to learn to deal with that, and we get to learn to be relational and mature and actually adult. Let's keep going.
In order to have healthy communication in my marriage. Number three is when conflict would happen or when something would happen to my husband specifically, instead of comforting him and being there for him and being what he needed, I would just immediately get mad at the situation or the person instead of comforting him. And in that moment, that's what he needed. Number four is becoming more feminine. And this,
it sounded like to me that she was being hyper protective. She was looking for somewhere to place that anger that already really, the rage and the anger and the difficulty and all of that actually lived within her intensely. So instead of giving him what he was probably requesting, that's how she knows that he wanted to be comforted or wanted compassion, empathy, and wanted to be heard. She was going to, how can I fix this? That quote unquote masculine trait of how can I fix this, it pulls us out of the present moment. And if we didn't experience love and care and tenderness and slowing down growing up, we're probably not used to giving that as adults. And so this is a relearning and remembering process as well.
Kind of happened naturally throughout our relationship. I began to let go of things and not be so.
I'll pause there on the feminine piece. We can look feminine. In this example, a woman can look feminine, speak feminine, move physically as a feminine being, but in relationship holds a more masculine pole. I'll explain in a moment.
Tight and not be so worried all the time and not be so aggressive. And that happened pretty easily within our marriage. And I can honestly say,
when we are uptight, aggressive, worried, concerned, hyper-vigilant, when we over-worry and we're anxious, we're pulled out of the present moment. It's very difficult to receive and be in our feminine, and the feminine lives in the present. It's very difficult to be grounded in what is happening now in the process, in the unfolding of life and events. That is another beautiful expression and representation of the feminine. And so we will get stuck in needing to survive, and whenever we're in survival, we're in personality and ego. Whenever we're in survival, we're not really in our truth. And we're going to struggle to be very present to the opportunity of the beauty that is presented in our lives. Therefore, we're way out of touch with intimacy, with connection, with being relational, and actually being open to the world.
That changed our relationship, and it changed me as a person for the better. It's not a one-way thing. My husband has changed things for me too. It's part of having a healthy marriage.
Yeah, so let's speak about that. It's not about a one-way street. It's about reciprocity, mutual respect and reciprocity, listening to each other. If we prioritize seeking to understand each other with everything we have, with everything we are, we go very, very far. But let me say this. Let's say put the one-way street or put the two-way street and the reciprocity aside for a moment. If all you did was focus on the ways that you can change, not only for your partner, not only for the relationship, but for you and for the afflictions or the stuff that holds you back that lives within you, if you only focus on that, the relationship would evolve and grow. You'd either evolve into something deeper together or you'd evolve out of the relationship. Either way, you're growing. And that's a prime directive of being human and being on this planet, like really living truthfully and openly. The value of choosing to look at what our partner is requesting of us. So if your partner says to you, hey, when you communicate to me aggressively and impatiently and reactively, it reminds me of how I grew up and it really shatters and disrupts my nervous system. My request would be that you speak slower, you speak calmer, you don't project on me, you get into greater control or greater mastery of your shame that you're then bringing into the conversation, etc., etc. The thing that our partners often ask of us are the thing that we actually need to heal or that is really beneficial for us. And so that's where change isn't about our partner telling us what to do and forcing change upon us. It is about our partners mirroring back and reflecting to us. And I did a video on this called The Mirror Ball. Like I used Taylor Swift as an example, and you can see that here. Taylor Swift's song is an example that we aren't just mirrors for each other, we're mirror balls for each other. And it is important, so crucial and so important that we allow our partners to be mirrors and mirror balls for us so that we can look within. But it does mean that we have to either dissolve, move beyond, not eradicate because it's not about that, but dissolve the parts of our ego that are really rigid and holding on to the familiar and to comfort and to safety essentially, and transcend that. What are your thoughts?